Then strides forth Emeka Madunagu, a linguistic maestro armed with knowledge as dense as the forest, each word a carefully sharpened arrow aimed at the heart of injustice. He ventures onto this hallowed platform armed with solutions, a veritable panacea for the ail of his compatriots. Emeka unyielding locks eyes with the elite, unflinching in his resolve as he speaks truth to power with the fervor of a modern-day prophet. He advocates for a class suicide, a radical act of severance from the vines of greed that choke the very life of Nigeria, prescribing this sacrificial rite as the only balm for the nation's festering wounds. Now, we bear witness to Innocent Aduluba, a custodian of integrity, where honesty flows like a river untainted. His edges of sacred truth is fortified by the solid foundation of reason, delivering a symphony of clarity that dances gracefully along the socio-cultural spectrum. Innocent, an oracle of the common people, channels their pulse, imbibing the essence of their struggles and transforming them.
Welcome is the middleman of jurors yet again. This is a forum where noise fades and facts take the floor. Here, emotions step aside and evidence speaks clearly. Power is not praised in this space, no. It is questioned, examined, and measured against its own record. We do not chase headlines, we follow decisions and connect actions to their consequences. Today, another issue is placed on the table. The facts will speak, responsibility will be clear, and the verdict will stand simple, firm, and free of sentiment. Policing for the people, Juror Evans Ufele calls for a decisive break from politically influenced policing. He says the new IGP, Mr. Tunji Disu, must be empowered to act without interference, confront crime directly, and hold officers accountable. For him, real policing means protecting citizens impartially and rebuilding confidence in the rule of law. Juror Henry Igwebike, in his case, the Uwa Ka economy, reflects on a viral moment involving a dispatch rider whose spontaneous gesture captured public frustration. He argues that the reaction was less about disrespect and more about the emotional weight of rising hardship, signaling a widening gap between leadership and the lived reality of ordinary Nigerians. While I, Juror Emeka Madunagu, in my case, wanted law on assisted living, deliver a stark moral challenge. I argue that while wealthy nations debate the right to die after securing dignity in life, Africans are still denied the conditions to live with dignity at all. My verdict is clear. Before assisted dying becomes a global ethic, the world must confront its role in Africa's poverty and the urgent need for assisted living. All these and more we will dissect after this short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. My case, wanted law on assisted living. British Isle, Jersey, has just passed a law on assisted dying. The law will give citizens the right to choose when and how to die. But how about a law by developed nations on assisted living for African countries? I mean, these nations have plundered Africa's resources for centuries and imposed crushing poverty as a transgenerational endowment. They are passing such assisted dying laws because their citizens generally enjoy much better living standards than Africans. Go through social media, listen to comments by well-educated Nigerians, including you and I. Look at the chaos everywhere. Look at the things we discuss endlessly about. the excuses we make for misconduct by our leaders and ourselves. I was in a customary court the other day to get an order to evict an unruly tenant. You needed to hear the kinds of cases that preceded mine. Horrible. Corruption was actually imposed on African countries by their colonial oppressors who have sustained that legacy till date. Though they won't allow corruption in their own countries, they brazenly promote it in business with Africans. Now, just see how our societies have unraveled. So much disorder everywhere. Filth, crime, antisocial behaviors, tribal, outrageous bigotry, and what have you. That's why supposedly normal people will rejoice at the attempted assassination of an opposition politician in Nigeria. My verdict. Having enjoyed assisted living through various welfare policies, people in developed nations are opting for assisted dying. I mean, look at humanity. Well, Africa needs assisted living. Too many things happening here can be avoided if leading nations stop enabling disorder on the continent.
Wow. Yeah, so I truly enjoyed your write-up, and very deep, actually. You know, lots of people will see it from different vantage point, and mine would be centered on two areas. Number one area is, I guess, is subjective. Some nations or some people from one aisle, which is the West, that you have just said, enjoy so much
living. So that's why they are thinking of so much dying.
Yes. So why I am saying this is because, you know, nature has a way of, you know, trying to balance itself. You know, when you steal from someone, right, it's just like the African proverb that says that it's not stealing the village drum
that matters. Where will you beat it?
Find a place to drum it. That's what it is. So if the Europeans have come to steal our village drum, you know, the issue is many decades after, where would they find a place to
beat it,
enjoy it, the melody and all? And that's what you see them suffering from. So they have everything in the world, which most of the time they got from African countries and from other, you know, global south, you know, areas. But the question is, you know, everything has a way of reclaiming itself. Nature has a way of reclaiming itself. And that's what you see happening in this area. Now, let me equally take a look at it from the area of excuses. Our colonialists have left us many decades ago.
Yeah.
And up until today, we still find excuses.
But they have not left also.
Well,
they left ruling us.
Yes.
But they are controlling. They are still controlling.
Well,
us.
I would love to equally, you know, debate that from many years ago, decades ago, in 1959, precisely, when Awolowo allowed for, or was the one that championed for the first television in Africa, Western Nigerian television. You know, I read that that particular television, first in Africa, was built with £250,000. And I made I wanted to know the value of that money today in 2026. And what I got was the value of that money is £7 million, okay, which is about 14.2 billion naira.
Wow.
So what Awolowo used to build the first television in Africa was £250,000. Today, the worth in 2026 is £7 million, which is about 14.2 billion naira. Now, 14.2 billion naira in the hands of many governors today. What are they able to do with it? What are they able to do with it? So when they siphon some of this money, plenty of 14.2 billion naira, they give excuses to why our colonialists should be blamed for not doing what they needed to do, while they have left us many years ago. Or Awolowo would have siphoned that money and say our colonialists are the reason why it's not possible for me to build or to create, you know, the first television in Africa. But he didn't see that as an excuse. He had to do what he was supposed to do.
I think this case is very poignant. It speaks to the issue of living in Africa and dying as well. It just looks like the poem by William Wordsworth. The world is too much with us. He said the world is too much with us. Getting and spending will lose our power. Little is in nature that's ours. In countries where they have self-sufficiency and every good thing of life, the West that have made that possible for its citizens, they have lived so well that they now need a law to assist them to that they are ready to exist. Before now, they have a law that is tied to medical situation for
Yes,
euthanasia,
euthanasia,
which
yes.
is, you can sign up to at the point of critical ailment to exit or to have the medical team assist the person to exit. This particular law isn't about ailment or whatever. It's about, just, if you desire to exit at any point, so you can be assisted to so do. That is critical because also we also have there's the Korean technology that we have now also. If you want to preserve your existence, it's in the West, sorry. I think it's already in Canada and America and some other countries. If you want to preserve yourself, you can sign up for that project and they will freeze the person for another 30 years. After 30 years, you can come back and still remain as you were before you sign up for it. So that you can also preserve your life and come back when your mates are all gone. Maybe you want to see what you look like 60 years from now. You can have yourself frozen. Every part, the brain, the structure, everything will be preserved for the next 60 years. So when you arrive after 60 years, you can recall your memory and then see how it works. People are signing up for that. You can sign up for that if it's so subscription. But my concern is Africa. Because in Africa, I think the law we need is the one that will assist us to live. Because it appears living is very, very critical in Africa, especially when the kind of life foisted on citizens and the kind of life they don't want, because it's the kind of life that is full of wants and needs, insufficiency, sometimes the mix of conflict. Okay, so this staggered balance is what must be corrected through the political process, through a leadership process. And that leadership process would be to, you know, um, get the kind of leaders that can deliver, because the ones currently constituted are the ones that have only turned the resources to assist their own life, and then not caring much about that of the general citizen, which is what we call inequality. The lack of an egalitarian society supports the kind of leadership you have, which is self-centered, selfish, only for, like our case, for example, the people controlling the entire resources in our own situation, they're not up to 0.1% of our population. And so imagine 0.1% of the population putting an entire 200 million and more into this kind of jeopardy. Okay, like someone talked about the city voice movement. Have you seen the buses? Those buses are brand new.
220
Okay,
million.
yes, they are all brand new. And those buses, okay, are flying all over the place. I solicit for allegiance and votes. You understand? In areas where they have no ambulances, in remote areas where if you fall sick, you die there. Imagine if all those buses are converted to ambulances or they are converted to mobile clinics, which is more valuable, even if you want to use it for politics. Why don't you convert it to something of value to people while you continue the campaign? But here, what they do with it is they pack security agencies and then drive on the road in convoy with those buses, wipe out citizens, clear them off the road, get to locations, and do whatever they want. So it's a big irony. It's a big irony. We need assisted living. We need our government need to do more, much more than what we can see or what they're doing now. Because what we have now is not it's nothing viable to the citizens.
Okay, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, Juror Evans Sufeli will be here to present his case titled Policing for the People. Do stay tuned. Cynthia,
Middleman. 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 Middleman.
Intertwined with whispers of despair, there stands Jumoke Alawode James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency.
Middleman.
Welcome to the middleman to us. My case, policing for the people. Let the new Inspector General of Police, IGP Tunji Disu, do real policing of Nigerian society. The nation needs an IGP empowered to restore public trust, enforce the law impartially, and protect citizens without fear or favor. Real policing means prioritizing community safety over political interests, tackling organized crime and electoral violence, and holding officers accountable for misconduct. First, remove political interference that undermines investigation and uh, command decisions. The IGP must have operational independence to deploy resources where needed and pursue cases without directives that serves narrow interests. Second, professionalize the force through continuous training in modern investigative techniques, human rights, forensics, and community engagement. Strengthening internal affairs units and civilian oversight bodies with data abuse and corruption. Third, invest in technology and logistics, reliable communication, crime database, body-worn cameras, and forensic lab transform policing effectively. Equipping officers properly reduce response time and improve case outcome. But reform recruitment, promotion, and welfare policies so merit and integrity matter. Adequate pay, mental health support, and clear career paths to boost morale and performance. Community police models must be expanded. Local partnerships build intelligence flow and encourage cooperative crime prevention. Transparent reporting of crime statistics and public-friendly complaint mechanism will rebuild trust. Collaboration with judiciary, anti-graft agencies, and state governments is essential to ensure prosecution and sustain security gains. And verdict. Public, the public must also play a role. The public must also play a role in supporting reforms and resisting vigilantism. Civil society, media, and citizens should monitor progress and demand accountability. Letting the new IGP do real policing requires patience, political will, and sustained funding. If given the space to act professionally and independently, the police can become a pillar of sustainability and justice in Nigeria. Citizens must remain vigilant, report crime promptly, cooperate with reforms to ensure long-term peace, development, and respect for human dignity for all Nigerians every. I go to Rabbi.
Yes, so it's actually quite interesting, what is happening. We would all have expected that former Inspector General of Police would, overstay his welcome. Already had overstayed his welcome. So we felt that he would, extend that as a result of what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had orchestrated. But unfortunately, he did not. Now, let's even go to policing and ask ourselves, how should policing work? There's what we call tactical civility. And that is when policing should be more of morphing itself into the society. Because that is one organization that should marry the society. While the military exfoliates itself from the society, police marry the society, and that's what it should be. But we have seen a situation where the police force in Nigeria, rather than marry the society, they further exfoliate themselves from the society and become virus to the society. A very classical example is the very gory situation between Dave Umahi and the woman
that lady
said
he was owing her 300 million.
No, it was actually, the real sum was 25 million 12 years ago. So what the woman did was put in the interest and everything, and of course it resulted to 300 million. I did not know how she came out with that round figure, but it was 25 million naira initially. But the way she was treated, she actually disclosed how that in the police station, Frank Mba, was part of those that had made her life miserable.
You just imagine. Somebody who could have become IG.
So she stated it there. He was more like a tool to Dave Umahi and many other police officers. She mentioned just 2 police officers in the course of this, her trouble, her turbulence, that were very helpful to her. She mentioned the 2 names, a man and a woman, and said others were just wicked people. They weren't interested in anything that concerned her because, of course, of the kind of police force that we have. So I think it's time, like Disu has said, that one of the things he would do is to ensure that our beggarly looking police officers do not look that way anymore.
In fact, that black uniform, the day, I don't know, was it Etimiyang?
You want them to change it?
They should change it.
To white?
No, maybe something. After all, the officers have this sky blue.
Okay,
maybe sky blue.
The reason why they should maintain that black, there's a very big reason. Because black, our terrain and the nature, can they even maintain any other color apart from black?
They should be able to maintain it. Don't they?
What exactly?
Do they sleep in gutters? You see, those are the things we need to change. Like this case has said, we need a police that is professionally driven. You cannot go to the office, put on a tie that is, a suit, that is crumpled and, a shirt that is disheveled. You can't go to the office like that. So when a policeman or policewoman is reporting to the station, you are a professional. You are reporting to your post of duty. So you should be professionally kitted, not looking like a gangster or a vandal. Policemen should also, I went to a police station, recently. Honestly, I felt very sad because the heat in the police station. Well, I now ask myself, is this how these people work? They just left the cell, they left the door open. The inmates were just there, just sitting. Everywhere was dark, no lights. So I had to enter, to see the admin officer, to report, a small matter, before they now advise me on what to do. That's not something involving police, So, but I just quickly studied the environment and said, what? Is this how these people work every day? So, if you even look at the office of the DC, is it DC crime or the whatever, the deputy of the DP in charge of crime, bare office, threadbare office, just a table. And that used to be the DPO's office before DPO was moved to another place. Threadbare. And I said, these are people who are bringing up children. These are people who younger people look up to. Now, how do you expect them to work in these kinds of environment? They will believe that the society hates them, that the society doesn't regard them, and they will come out with that oppressive mentality. So, the entire construct of the police, beginning from the psychological aspect, has to change. Structural, the police must be independent. The IG must be independent. The police system must be independent. Well, as a matter of fact, be insulated from these delinquent politicians we have in Nigeria. How can you be owing a woman for how many years? And it is a civil dispute. You now turn it to a police matter. Now look at Frank Kumba. He finally wrote his own CV, his own cover letter. Look at what the woman said. And look at finally. Who knows? Who knows whether that case got the attention of the president and he said, no. We can't make this man our IG. So when you look at it, I congratulate Tunji Disu. At least, from the little I know about him, I've interacted with him. And I think he's a professional, he's an officer. I feel he has been more involved in, because I know there has been this tribal twist that Tinubu doesn't like Igbos and all of that. So I made Frank Kumar. But for me, I believe the choice of Tunji Disu was well made. I'll prefer a Tunji Disu to 1,000 Frank Kumbas, because I've not seen anything operationally that you can say Frank Kumba did. Even though it's my kinsman, but I've not seen any. Even the other DIGs, I don't even know them. I've not heard their names in any spectacular, cases or so. So what we need, when we were growing up, we had all these models in investigations, like James Harley Chase, James Bond. Yeah. I want to say James Bond. All those characters in James Harley Chase novels, there were others like that, in different Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. There were other characters that we looked up to. And then even in developed countries, there are names that people point out that said, oh, this is a spectacular investigator, this is a star investigator. Even with the charges against him, I still admire someone like Abba Kyari, because at least he acquitted himself, to some extent before he got carried away by the grandeur of the office. So we need to psychologically restructure the police. It's not a business enterprise. They should face that. The police, I can tell you, Nigeria police can actually deal with these Boko Haram militants. We don't need the military. The police, if they are well trained, the police, the B division before was the intelligence arm. If the police are well trained, the Nigerian police can defeat these militants.
Emeka, if Kenyan police officers can be handling insurrectionists in Haiti, not their military,
put them down,
but their police force is taking care of insurrectionists.
Yeah, and that has been the case in the Nigerian police for many years.
In Haiti. Then why are we doing?
Our policemen are well trained.
Well trained.
They are very well trained. But the problem they have is the lack of motivation.
Yes.
On the side of the government, not motivating them enough. And then secondly, they too, at an intersection, do not like to be accountable. And one is triggering the other. That lack of incentive is what is triggering their act of not wanting to be accountable. And if these two things can be addressed, I was told that the new IG is a creative. I was told he's an academic. I was told he writes and he, being a creative, being a creative, will give you the benefit of the doubt to see the reform that you can bring to bear. because most time police reforms are very cosmetic. While reform is ongoing for a particular new lease of life, when you go out there in the field, you find the officers doing exactly opposite the reforms or whatever you call it. So there's a need for him to give us a blueprint, what he intends to do, how he can rejig the process, and most importantly, look into the welfare of these people so that they can actually concentrate on the job and maybe find a creative means to have them eviscerated from this banality of wealth seeking, money mongering, which most times distort their judgment when they have to handle cases. When a privileged person is having an issue with a not so privileged, they take sides sometimes. Once the complainant has initiated a process,
Okay. So I sincerely hope that we would get to that point where we will get to that point where our kids during their career days, right, would proudly say, Daddy, I would love you to get me a police uniform.
Yes, I would love to join the police.
How to join the police.
Yes.
Okay. When his mates or their mates are buying the costume of a doctor or engineer, they will say, I would love to get that of a police.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's my intention to join the police. So until we get there, I do not know if it's ever possible for us to repair all of this. But we will take a quick break, and when we return, I, Juro Henry Gwebike, will be here to present my case titled Uwa Ka Economy, Why a Dispatch Rider's Gesture Went Viral. Do stay tuned.
You said it was okay.
And searing urgency. His lamentation for the plight of the people rises like a haunting melody, reverberating through a land where self-inflicted wounds twist the tendrils of allegiance into knots of a servitude, traded for nothing more than a pittance, a morsel of bread amidst the hunger of the soul. Then strides forth Emeka Madunagu, a linguistic maestro, armed with knowledge as dense as the middleman. Thank you for staying with us. My case, Uwa Ka Economy. Why a dispatch rider's gesture went viral. A viral video of a dispatch rider delivering goods has captured the raw frustration of a nation called Nigeria. Sporting a boss branded with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's face, the rider instinctively flashed the Uwa Ka sign, a derogatory gesture signifying deep-seated resentment. Now, this can be put in different forms. Who knows what the rider muted? It could be Kachi Babamboran Ubanka, Kachu Uwarka, Mamanka de Babanka. Now, this wasn't a calculated political stunt. It was an unconscious, visceral reaction to the current Nigerian reality. The president's popularity has plummeted to historic lows. His administration's draconian economic policies have sparked a cost of living crisis that he has left the average citizen reeling, while those within the inner circle remain insulated. From the perspective of the man on the street, the economy isn't just struggling, It feels engineered to favor a select few at the expense of the many. This incident serves as a microcosm of public sentiment. While the president's allies, blind loyalists, and a few who are rewarded financially or emotionally from nepotism and cronyism may dismiss such act as a mere disrespect that shouldn't be taken seriously or discussed, the Uwa Ka symbolism represents a broader loss of faith in leadership. The question remains, is the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu tuned into this frequency of anger to make amends and gain public trust, or has the disconnect become a perennial and permanent issue? My verdict, the Uwa Ka video is more than an insult. It is a symptom of a broken social contract. When the working class, the poor and vulnerable resort to causing images in traffic, in their closet or in their minds, it signals the hope is being replaced by open hostility. Unless there is a radical shift towards empathetic governance, the shame the public feels will only continue to harden into defiance.
Yeah, did you see the video by this not funny comedian, Sheilo?
Exactly.
You know, the interview where he said that Nigeria is safer
Yeah,
today
that
than
is 10 years ago.
The following day, kidnappers blocked somewhere at Uso in Ondo State. Kidnappers invaded the Celestial Church of Christ parish and kidnapped 6 pregnant women in Ondo State. Not long ago, just about last week or so, kidnappers, invaded the palace of a traditional ruler in Ondo State and kidnapped him. So people have been asking Sheilo. He said he was asking, have you heard of bomb blasts? But some days ago, militants, terrorists, threw bombs at a Nigerian military convoy and killed some soldiers. So people have been asking him, come out again and repeat that statement that Nigeria is safer. You see, the sad thing is, many of these people who just talk recklessly out there don't realize that if there is a revolution, people will target them first. Because you were the ones who came out to say everything was all right. So you allowed Nero to continue feeding while Rome was burning. Remember, was it the famous story about Sina, where the mob encountered Sina the poet. And he said, no, I'm Sina the poet. I'm not Sina the conspirator. They said, it doesn't matter. Whether Sina the poet or Sina the conspirator, we will deal with you today to show you the anger of the people. And remember the French Revolution, when they went to the palace, of Queen Antoinette, she said, when the rioters went there, she said, no, if they say there's no bread, give them cake. That is what our leaders are doing to Nigerians. They are telling you, why? If there's no power supply, bear it now. After all, it was bad before now. So let me tell you something. You see, the first thing any leader with a sense of direction should do is to remove that poverty mentality. It has damaged the cycle of many Nigerians. Many Nigerians don't reason normally anymore. Many. And it's unfortunate, but that is the sad reality we face today.
Yeah, the situation of that young man is not very different from the situation of many of us. Okay, you see, what the young man did there came from a deep place of frustration. He may not even be conscious of what he did.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I had to watch that video over and over and over again because I didn't see it before. I'm just seeing it for the first time. And it's part of what I said before, that if we allow this man to come back again, if we see one another, we'll be able to recognize one another. This man who is riding this dispatch may possibly be a high-placed person sometimes in the past. And the Nigerian system have reduced him to what we're doing. And so he appears to me like someone who have uh, a family. He appears to me as someone who pays school fees, who who buys petrol, and who does everything a man should do within the ecosystem. But you see, there's no joy, there's no happiness anywhere because of the kind of thing this government introduced. The government ought not to have made mention of the subsidy issue at all because it wasn't ready for the consequence. It was never ready for the consequence. You're not a good year at all. You've never been president before. You don't know how you just disrupt, because that's what disrupted the lives of people, reduce people to whatever. Otherwise, before now, things were hard. The people were eating and throwing food away and doing all sorts. But now all that is gone, drained. So people are barely surviving. Just even the very middle class, even the elite, except for those whose businesses are supported by government, or for those whose businesses has crossed the threshold of economic strangulation. Those are the only ones that can succeed. And there's a tribe, and those who are stealing, or for those who are into fraud and all that. Every other person that wants to do anything genuine faces serious, visceral, debilitating condition of the economy, which brings everything you have worked for, hoped for, to nothing. And so this spiral down to the quality of life that children are getting, the quality of education they get, which will invariably impact the future. And that is why we're calling on governors who are not performing to rescue their state, their citizens, because they are the ones who are the custodian of the real resources of the people. So when you have this functional local government system, local government systems are not accountable and all that. These are the people who are supposed to use their office to rescue the, the damage that the president wreaked by inexperience on the people. But what do you find? They too are in their own recklessness. So, but at the end of the day, the average Nigerian, not all, is still not has still not suffered enough because he cannot find himself ready to embrace political emancipation. So he supports the Tinubu and he he campaigns against people like Itobi who have a trajectory, who have a pathway, who appear to know the problem and how to find solution to it. But because this average person is used to his fellowship with poverty have been entrenched beyond his own consciousness. They are beating the drums for this man to return. And if he returns, they are still going to be the ones who will be heavily hit by this tsunami. And so the ones who are benefiting from it directly are creating the city voice movement wherein they are going up and down, deceiving people and themselves. And it appears they are the only one that can see the future or see what the future holds. But if we are at this juncture and people are not able to congregate, use their mandate or allegiance to make a change for their own lives, even if not for their own lives, for the lives of their children, then it will mean that the collective as a whole, apart from the leaders, are not also ready for a better life or a change of situation. Because it is two divides. If the leaders are not ready for the change, the followers can cause a change to happen through revolution. But if the leaders are not ready for a change and the followers are not ready for a change, then the leaders and the followers have a symbiotic relationship. And that symbiotic relationship is very productive in poverty. all kinds of lack. That is what exactly we are seeing.
It's actually quite sad. You know, the latest I just learned is they're actually looking for that young man. You know, so
looking for him for what?
You know, just like just like what was meted out on the youth corps member who said that President Bola Tinubu is not a good leader.
But
that is Ray.
But
yes.
because
so
of
she,
her,
she was given an extension.
But
she suffered for it. Even
no, time will come when she will sue
NYSC.
We'll encourage her to sue NYSC when this confused administration leaves. We'll encourage her to sue NYSC and and demand heavy damages. The time will come.
That's very true. So that's all we have, and that concludes today's edition of the Middlemen. Thank you for being part of the discussion. Stay aware, stay engaged, and keep demanding accountability. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7 for more conversation that matter. From the jurors and the entire team, we say bye-bye.
Artists are not saying goodbye.
Right.